Hello kids, let's look at some examples of compound interest. I hope you have gone through my previous video where I have explained the concepts of compound interest. So let's look at it, some examples right now. So this problem over here, if you look at it, it's not a straightforward problem, right? So when you read it, you'll find out that you need to do a lot of conversions over here before getting to the solution of the problem, right? So what the problem reads: if the interest is compounded half yearly, remember this term, it is compounded half yearly, calculate the amount when the principal is this much. So they have given the principal to be 7,400. Okay, they have given the rate to be 5% per annum. Whenever the rate is given in a particular problem, it's always 5%. It's always per annum. Remember that. And the duration is given as 1 year. But note the difference over here. Note this term. It is being calculated half yearly. Means the interest will be calculated every 6 months. Okay. So there needs to be some adjustments made before we go ahead and solve this particular problem. So when they say that it is compounded half yearly, if you look at the rate, it is per annum. So for 6 months, what is the rate going to be? This will be 5 divided by 2%. Remember always, because it is compounding half yearly. So you won't get the entire rate for that particular duration. So for 6 months, you're going to get only half the interest of that, right? And now, in the case of time, they have mentioned it as 1 year, but it is again calculated half yearly. So what do you need to do? Your time in this particular case, when it comes to compound interest, right, we use n, not t. So n will become 1 into 2. Remember, you need to take two terms basically of 6 months each when doing the problem. Okay, understood? Now what do you need to find? You need to find the amount, right? So what do you know? Amount is equal to P times 1 plus rate by 100 to the power n. That is what we know about compound interest. Now let's go and plug in the values. So you get amount is equal to 7400 into 1 plus, this becomes 5 by 200 because we have the rate as 5 by 2. So I've just taken 2 down, 2 and multiplied it with 100. So what do you get? Amount is equal to 7400 into this bit will become 205 divided by 200. Since it is 2 times, I'm going to multiply it with 2 times. So what do you get? After all the calculations, what do you get? You get 777.625. That's your answer. Okay. Okay, let's try out one more problem similar to the one which we have done previously. Okay, what are they saying over here? Find the amount and the compound interest on 5,000 at 10% per annum for 3.5 years. Note this point again. The compound interest rate calculated semi-annually. Whenever we get this one right, it needs to be understood that the compound interest will be calculated in a block of 6 months. Okay, semi-annually means it's 6 months. Okay, so let's note down the points, whatever data points they have given. We have a principal. We have principal is equal to 5,000. Right? Rate is mentioned as 10% per annum. If we want to consider this rate for semi-annually, if you want to consider it for semi-annually, this will become 10 divided by 2, which is 5%, right? Semi-annually. And then you have the duration as 3 by 2 years, right? 3 by 2 years, if you look at it. But again, it has to be semi-annually calculated. So what do I need to do over here? In a year, we have 2 blocks of 6 months. So I need to multiply this by 2. So you get it to be 3. I'll not put it as years, but this is 3 terms if you look at it. I need to calculate it for 3 terms, right? So let's go ahead. They asked us to calculate the amount. and they asked us to calculate the compound interest in the problem. If you look at it, find the amount and the compound interest. So first and foremost thing, A is equal to P times 1 plus R by 100 times n. So your A will be equal to 5000 multiplied by, what is your rate? We have calculated the rate as 5% for semi-annually. So we are going to plug that rate over here, 5 by 100, and the term comes out to be 3 terms. So n will be 3 over here. So when you expand this bit, what do you get? 5000 into this one becomes 105 divided by 100. Since it is 3 times to the power of 3, so I need to mention it 3 times over here, right? So when you simplify this, what do you get? You get 5788.12. That's your amount. That's your amount which they have asked you to calculate. This is one of your answers. And now, what is compound interest? Compound interest is simply amount minus principal. So your amount was 5788.12. Your principal was 5000. So your compound interest comes out to be 7.788.12. That's your second answer. Understood? So B, read the problem properly, and what you do is that collect this data. Once you have collected the data, right, then you go to the formula. Never go to the formula directly and try to put the values. It will confuse you. So the basic thing what you need to do is that collect the data properly, read the problem properly, do the conversions properly, and then use the formula. It's very simple. Okay?